Hey, welcome to Fabulous Friday, Captive Audience. And we still have to register to vote. We have until October 15th to register to vote in Oregon. And we need everybody. Everybody should be helping, asking people, talking about it, helping people register to vote, and just everywhere. Hey, are you voting? All you got to do is ask a question. Are you voting? Are you registered to vote? It's so simple. Well, the news keeps on coming. It keeps on coming, that's for sure. The first thing we're going to start up with today, well, I guess I'll tell you, the weather is so beautiful over here in Northeast Oregon. Just a spectacularly beautiful day. I saw a fire get started. I think it was somebody burning their field. I think it was an agricultural burn. There was one the other day, got out of hand. I don't know about today's. But, such beautiful weather, blue skies, few little clouds. And, despite everything in the news, we still live in the best country in the world, bar none, bar none. So we're going to start off with one of the top staffers for Governor Tina Kotek resigned after an extended leave. And she was one of the three top staffers, actually. She was the Deputy Chief of Staff for Public Engagement, and she has resigned. She had been on medical leave for the last 5 months since she and other top aides raised concern about the expanding role of Kotek's wife in her administration. And they're not happy, so there you go. There's the top three are gone. Took an extended leave for a while and now gone. That is not, doesn't show good leadership by our governor with her staffer. The top three people, all of them are gone. And it is over her wife and developing a position for her that is not favorable. People are not liking it. And frankly, you know what? Governor Kotek, you were elected, not by everybody, but you're representing everybody. Your wife wasn't. Just let your wife stay home. You do the job. Might run smoother. A candidate for Deschutes County Sheriff has not been truthful. I'll tell you, when you're not truthful, it comes back to bite you. It absolutely does come back to bite you. And so this fella, he's running for Deschutes County Sheriff. And you know what he's left out? So there's been some investigations into him. And what he left off his resume was that he worked he did a stint as a reserve officer in La Mesa, California. And he was let go, or he left. And the city of La Mesa is refusing to turn over the records detailing the internal investigation he was terminated in 1997. And when you're running to be the top dog, the top law enforcement officer of a county, because a sheriff is the top dog, the top law enforcement officer of the county, you ought to have a clean record, frankly, and you ought to be honest. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but and he was terminated a long time ago, 97, more than 25 years ago, which is odd. And so anyway, we'll see what happens. I think as a voter, for me, right now, I will tell you though, it is the height of campaign season. So people are going to be doing a lot of digging, going to do a lot of reporting. There's also going to be fake reports. But this report, it's not fake. He worked for the city of La Mesa and was terminated. And yet he never disclosed that on his application. His 2008 application to become a full-time paid Deschutes deputy. He mentioned a lot of things, but he did not mention his stint in La Mesa. So that is lying by omission and not a good look. I wouldn't vote for him. And Monique Despain, she is running for office, and she's running against Val Hoyle. And Val Hoyle has been doing some, Val Hoyle, she's not really stand upright, and she's not somebody that, frankly, I would vote for her either. I wouldn't vote for her. But anyway, Monique Despain has she's got a TV ad that sets the record straight. And right now, Val Hoyle is trying to paint her in a bad light, and you're not going to do it, and it's over her stance on abortion and whatever. But what Monique has said is the Justice Department subpoena indicates the feds may be looking into Representative Val Hoyle and her efforts to help a large cannabis company. Yeah, remember she had to resign. And Monique Despain hasn't changed on anything. She is, so Val Hoyle was a couple of weeks ago was using a deceptively edited interview to quote to lie to voters about Monique's opposition to a national abortion ban. And actually, she is not opposed to that. She says, I've stated clearly, quoting Monique Despain, I have stated clearly from the very beginning of my campaign that I oppose a federal ban on abortion. I'm a mother of twin sons, thanks to the miracle of IVF, and I fully support federal protections. And unlike Val Hoyle, I'm not a corrupt career politician who survives from election to election on lies, corrupt donors, and cover-ups. I'm a political outsider, retired Air Force colonel, and fighter for victims' rights. I will be an independent voice for Oregon in Congress, speaking up for Oregon and defending all the rights and delivering public safety and an affordable economy for all Oregonians. And that is fabulous. So I have just posted that in the links, and you got to hit back. When the mud is slinging, you better answer the call. And speaking of the upcoming election, the Postmaster General, I find this laughable. Postmaster General to his critics, the U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver nation's mail-in ballots. I don't know how he even has the gall to say that when the Postmaster Union, came out and endorsed Harris. So I want to say that is, how do you say, oh, yeah, we're ready to handle everything. It's going to all go off on without a hitch. And then the union for the postal workers has endorsed them, endorsed, frankly, Commie, Cackling Kamala. No, thank you. Don't put your ballot in the mail. Put it in a drop box. Drop it off if your county elections. That's best. Don't put it in the mail. Might never get there. Rep. Helfrich is asking, he is our House Republican leader, Representative Jeff Helfrich, and he is calling for public hearings needed on the non-citizen voter error contradictions. And I agree. There needs to be an investigation, although so many investigations, in my viewpoint, don't go anywhere. And so sad that that's the case, but they don't. But it should be looked into, because it's wrong that, and I believe that there are more illegal voters on the rolls than the 306 that the Secretary of State said, oops, we found that DMV, it was a human error. Oops, we made a mistake. No, I don't believe it. And so I'm talking about election things right now. The Georgia Election Board has approved a rule requiring hand count of ballots. The rule was first proposed in August, and it passed on a 3-2 vote. And so good for the Georgia Election Board. They're saying that it requires the election workers to hand count ballots in the November election and confirm that the numbers match the machine counts before the vote can be certified. And so good for them. Really good for them. We have good news, and there's a lot of what people would call bad news. Something my husband always said, he goes, tell me the bad news, because then I can know what I need to do with it. Good news, I don't need to worry about. But I think we need to hear some good news, as well, because it can be, we're in a fight, of good versus evil, and there can just be a lot going on. And we need to have some good news. That's just what I think. Yeah. So a little bit further is Pennsylvania County. A Pennsylvania county rejects mail ballot drop boxes for this election. And the move stems from concerns about the boxes being open to unauthorized access. So what does that mean? Ballot stuffing? Stuff the ballot box stuffing? I don't know. That's what I would assume it means. And so they are in Luzerne County, has said in a statement that the news that they're just not going to use any ballot drop boxes because of, they could set up recordings, but what she thinks makes it really safe is that they would have security 24/7 while the boxes are unlocked. So that's what that county's doing. And so people are going to have to go to their county elections or mail them. Wouldn't put it in the mail. So when I first heard of this story, I thought, well, more people are going to mail their ballot. They're not going to want to do that. They're going to mail their ballot. Is that going to increase the fraud? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out, right? Wait and see what happens in Luzerne County and see what happens. We don't know. And I'll tell you, in like 3 days, on a Monday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, some states are starting the early voting and mail-in voting. There's lots happening, and I still would like to have a federal holiday and everybody goes and votes on that day. It would be an election holiday, right? Everything is closed, so everybody can go vote, and voting in person and bring your ID. I think that's how it ought to be. I really, really do. Voting in person and one day and bring your ID. That's what we should have. So there is a lot of, except with the exceptions of people that, let's help our elderly. And we have people in uniform that are overseas, citizens that are overseas. There's absentee ballots, those people that can prove that they're not going to be able to be there on that day. You always have to have an exception. You can't just make a hard and fast rule. about that. That wouldn't be fair. But I think that's the way it ought to be. And so many states, some Arizona starts October 9th. Ours, Oregon, starts October 16th. October 15th is the deadline to register, and October 16th, the ballots get mailed. And so Georgia, it's October 15th, they start voting. Let's see, Michigan is October 7th for early voting. Nevada starts October 19th. This is early in-person early voting. This is strange. In-person early voting starts October 19th and continues through November 1st. Now, well, Election Day isn't November 1. So what do they do after that? And there they have you have to opt out of a mail-in ballot in Nevada. It's interesting. This article, I'll post a link because it is excuse me, just a second. It has a lot of information about the different states and what they're doing. It's kind of cool to look at and see what's going on. There are some places that they vote quite differently. North Carolina, in-person early voting starts on the third Thursday before Election Day. That would be October 17th. And then it ends on November 2nd. And that is in-person voting. Interesting. You have many days to go and do that. You have many days to do that. Pennsylvania, in-person early voting is not technically an option. Every elections must receive mail-in and absentee ballots by 8 p.m. and they must be postmarked by 8 p.m. November 5th. A postmark by 8 p.m. is not sufficient. It must be in the office. And that's something that irks me here in Oregon, that we're now, because of our Democrat legislators, and of course a few Republicans, just remember, for everything that the Democrat legislators in Oregon pass, some Republicans helped it get out of committee, and somebody probably helped vote for it. It's not a good look. But anyway, I regress. So Pennsylvania is different. Wisconsin. Wisconsin has some early voting too. The ballots are sent out. They must send absentee ballots out by September 19th. So that's their deadline. It's interesting what's going on in different states and voting. Yeah, I think a national holiday in person, bring your ID. Let's have a voting party right in your precinct, have a voting party. I'm all for it. Forget the machines. Forget the machines and forget ranked choice voting, all that stuff. Well, I want to change it now from election to a little bit of health. Interesting story here, I thought, from Epic Times, the health division here, that Los Angeles County, it says, the headline is, seeing unprecedented number of mosquito-borne disease cases, the officials warn. You know what the unprecedented numbers are? 3. So, but I'll tell you what is very, very strange, is that it's dengue fever, dengue virus. That is from the tropics. It's all over in the Caribbean. and it's in the tropics. So I'm surprised that it is in Los Angeles. And according to the CDC, that is more of this happening across the US. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this story to light and talk about it is because Bill Gates has been doing experiments with mosquitoes, and they have been releasing mosquitoes. What are they doing with them? I don't know. They're supposed to be that they can't breed, and they're going to stop, malaria and other diseases. I frankly don't trust Bill Gates and what he does. He's the vaccine guy. He wants to push the vaccines. And I don't trust him. And so I wonder about that when I read this story, because some would go, oh, well, it's climate change. How come these mosquitoes they're moving north? A mosquito doesn't live very long, and they really don't fly against wind. But people can come in. We have mosquitoes, and it's actually a particular mosquito. There's several varieties of mosquitoes, and it is a particular mosquito. So that particular mosquito is coming in somehow, more into the United States, but it has to the mosquito has to bite as somebody who's infected in order to carry it, because it is only transmitted it's the Aedes species of mosquito. It's only transmitted by the bite of that mosquito. And I'll tell you, you don't want dengue fever. It's called also breakbone fever, really bad. Hemorrhagic fever. You don't want to take anything that would cause you to bleed, like NSAIDs, ibuprofen, and things like that. I've never had it. My husband had it, though. He had it. He was deliriously sick, for like 3 or 4 days, but it took a while longer to recover from that. And so apparently, data from the CDC shows that 5,000 cases of the mosquito-borne virus have been reported so far in 2024 across the United States. But the vast majority of the cases are associated with travel. So you go somewhere else, you get it, and then you come back. You've flown back into the country and you've got it. So 28 of them are locally acquired dengue. And you just don't want that. It's not a good thing at all. So I wonder if I saw a video of helicopters. I believe it was helicopters that were releasing mosquitoes. What for? I don't know. Let's release dragonflies. They eat mosquitoes, mosquito larvae. And but it's the only way it spreads is by one particular type of mosquito, and it has to bite you. You don't need a vaccine for this, I can tell you that much. And it's not super common catching it. Not super common. So did you hear that Trump has proposed a temporary 10% cap on credit card interest rates? Because right now, some cards are as high as 25%, nearly 25%. Some of them are even higher, 30%. And he says, we ought to maybe do a temporary cap on interest rates. And so he has proposed a 10% temporary cap on credit card interest rates. And people are hurting. And I would help people that are hurting financially. There's so much credit card debt across America. And I think it would be better to do that. I've never heard of anybody saying that, hey, let's do this. Let's cap the interest rate on credit cards. And why not? Why not help the people out? Why not? In the second quarter, credit card debt reached a nominal all-time high of $1.14 trillion. That's gigantic. I can't even fathom that. And it would, that's how banks build those big, tall buildings, quite frankly. Governments aren't making the money on that. The investors that invest with banks and whatnot that are carrying that credit. Anyway, I like it. I think it's a good idea, temporarily. I'm not for government and getting involved in private business, but as a temporary thing to help the economy, to help people, I think, that might not be a bad idea. Just my 2 cents. Just my 2 cents. I have a few more cents left here today on Fabulous Friday. I had to wear my Trump shirt. I just, we have to register people to vote, and we got to vote for Trump. Trump signs are flying out of, we have in 3 locations, and I've now heard from all 3 locations today, I'm all sold out of yard signs. I'm all sold out of yard signs. I said, yeah, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'll work on getting us some more. It's people want yard signs. They want field signs, and they want Trump gear. They want Trump flags. It's great talking to people. Well, of course, like-minded people, to help educate them about ranked choice voting, but they're coming in looking for gear. They're looking for, how can we help you? Voter registration. I got 3 today at one of our offices. I don't know about the others, what they've got. And we're working hard here in Umatilla County. It's fun talking to the Trump supporters and the Republicans, and helping to educate them. In fact, we have our customers that for me, I know many that are returning, and then I go, oh, look, I've heard some people new going, hey, how do I get this, and how do I get that, and what do you think about that? So hearing from a lot more new people. So I want to switch gears to energy. We've talked a lot about energy here on Captive Audience. David Dardell and I specifically talked a lot about energy over the years. And right now, the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant is set to reopen to supply energy from Microsoft data. And, just within this past week, I was talking about the data centers and the energy that they require. And they all have these backup generators. I mean, gigantic backup generators, and that could power, several homes, not just one, several homes. I don't know how many, but several. And so here you have, data is so important. And I know that I've talked with friends about this. Here in Umatilla County, we have data centers, and they are purchasing hydropower because that's the cheapest form of power. And now here you have the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant that has been closed and off grid for years. But Microsoft has entered into a 20-year power purchase agreement to reopen Pennsylvania's closed 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant. And it looks at Constellation Energy, the owner of the plant, announced that agreement today, stating that it will restore Unit 1 adding approximately 835 megawatts to the electrical grid while creating 3,400 direct and indirect jobs and generating more than $3 billion in state and federal taxes. And, so let's see. The people, this is also a cheaper form of energy, far cheaper than wind and solar. I don't have a problem with nuclear energy. There's the technologies have gone so much further than what it is. So it's very inexpensive, in my view, to reopen 3 Mile Island than trying to build some of the smaller ones. But I believe that's going to be, and it's because of the energy demand of data centers, the tech companies. You have to have reliable energy, reliable, constant, reliable, 24/7, 365 energy to make chips, to have data centers. You must have reliable energy to do surgeries. There are many industries that require reliable energy. Wind and solar are not reliable energy. The solars don't work at night. You can talk about battery storage, but it's such a batteries only last so long. And believe me, they only last so long. and they cost a lot. And you're just enriching China because that's where it all comes from. The whole deal of about solar and wind has enriched nations. We need to get smart about this. Well, for Oregon, they banned them. They banned nuclear power in Oregon, so don't hold your breath anytime soon. And so I think, so here we have, because of the demand for data centers, they're willing to do this. They're willing to do it. And they're not willing to do it for the people, though. The people to have reliable power. We pay the residential pays the highest rates. And so it's going to be interesting. And the meltdown apparently destroyed Unit 2 reactor. However, according to the Constellation Energy, the Unit 1 reactor is fully independent facility and it wasn't damaged by the Unit 2 accident. That's going to be interesting. And Unit 1 was shut down 5 years ago by the former owner for economic reasons. So we're going to, they're going to reopen that plant, and Microsoft is going to, be buying power for them for years to come. And so this Constellation Energy will also pursue a license renewal that will authorize Unit 1, which is expected to be online by 2028, to be operational until 2054. So that's a good long time. And with Microsoft, it's helping to do all of that. So Pennsylvania is going to have, I think that will actually help them. Some of the things that have gone up the most is our cost of energy. We've covered that. Excuse me, my ear is itching. We cover that here on Captive Audience. The increased rates from PG&E, and they just continually ask for, it's another 14%. And we got 10% last time. Now we want another 14% in just a few months, it seems like. So, yeah, that was good. Hey, Marjorie, I'll tell you what. Trump was awesome on Gutfeld. I just seen your comment here. He was awesome on Gutfeld. I haven't got to see the whole episode, but I've only seen parts of it, and I'm going to take the time and watch it. Watch the whole thing. And the belt that Tyrus presented to him, I thought that was great too. Really great. So here's did you all watch or see anything about Comrade Kamala on Oprah's interview? I only got to see just a small bit of it. And I'll tell you, Oprah asked a legitimate question and she doesn't answer. She gives a roundabout word salad. And I watched the look on Oprah's face, and I think she was saying, I can't believe you're not answering the question. You're here amongst friends, and you're not answering the question. And she took questions from the audience. And again, she didn't. You know, when she was asked a question of, what are you going to do to help make things more economical, bring down the cost? Well, her reply is something like, well, I was raised in a middle class family. She never answered the question. We don't really want to hear your life history, but that's the lines that she's memorized. That's part of the same story she did at the DNC convention, and she keeps repeating it. This is what she's memorized. She's sticking to the script, and she won't tell you anything. So her interview was, I guess you'd call it a train wreck. It was not very good. But Trump has interviewed lots. Lots. Ask me whatever. He jokes around, like on the Gutfeld. He's just. He's the real deal, the real deal. So I'm a different topic, going back to health a little bit. I saw this morning, a post on X, that Japan has issued a dire warning for the COVID vaccinated. And what their study is that compared to those who are unvaccinated, the mortality rate is 5 times higher if you get vaccinated twice. And the professor says we cannot continue these mRNA vaccines. And he goes on to actually explain that, a vaccine is supposed to prevent disease, and these don't. So I posted a link to that there. And that is a hot topic. And it's going to be, there's a video with that, what I posted. And, this might get us removed. I don't know. We'll find out. And I don't want to be removed. I'm not trying to post things that will get us removed, but there are those that do censorship. Absolutely. In fact, so much so that Facebook faces heat as the marketers, the fans, and the stars claim that the Reagan movie has been censored in Facebook. And it's not censored elsewhere, but it is on Facebook. And so I'm going to post the story there on that and give that one to you as well. And that's a shame. I'll tell you, it was the movie was awesome. We have a home on X. Yes, we do. And Captive Audience is on X, and I'm glad that we are. And Rumble. We do have, and Truth Social. We're not on Truth Social, but we should be. I am. And because we need to utilize everywhere that we can to have our free speech. And so, I'm using Facebook less and less and less. There's because of we as concerned citizens for our nation, our state, our nation, our community, frankly, I think we need to make a decision. Are you going to be here? Are you going to be there? And yeah, it's difficult supporting or being associated with a group that doesn't support what you're doing. It's difficult. Anyway, that was that's what I have. It's a beautiful go out and have a walk. It's beautiful evening out there, early evening right now, and have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back here next week. Good night.